Hello, I'm Skaya, and welcome to Face, our weekly summary of top events, but from a Central European perspective. And my guest here today is TVP World Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Michał Broniatowski. Michał, so glad to have you here on another edition of Face to Face. Michał, we have a lot to talk about, and particularly I want to begin by talking about the peace plan, quote-unquote peace plan, drawn by the United States and Russia with no Europe at the table, no Ukraine at the table. Very disturbing. And the U.S. pushing for Ukraine to accept major concessions. Here we have the 28-point plan. Michał, your thoughts about this? Is this something that Ukraine cannot possibly agree to?
You know, this is something which not only Ukraine cannot agree to, but also Europe. You know, this war concerns mostly, well, first of all, of course, Ukraine, but then Europe. And America is just watching in from the other side of the pond and, you know, agreeing for this plan. Never mind that it is absolutely unacceptable in its content, but agreeing for something which was discussed by President of the United States, who does not understand the political situation and that seems to be blind on goals of Russian international policy. And on the other side, sitting the man who is considered a war criminal by international community.
He's laughing.
Is, you know, he's constantly making Trump a laughingstock of the rest of the world, because he's playing him, and it is here especially visible in it. We can go through it.
Well, Michał, the first thing I do want to ask you, I mean, I have to tackle this. I mean, here we're talking about point 21 of this is Crimea, Luhansk, and Donetsk will be recognized as de facto Russian, including by the United States. Kherson and Zaporizhia line will be frozen along the line of contact, and Ukrainian forces are going to withdraw from the part of Donetsk that they currently control, right? I mean, how is this something that Ukraine can abide by? I mean, even President Zelenskyy said that he will never be able to
no, it's
you know,
it's making aggressor the only beneficiary of this war. You know, it's gratifying Russia for their invasion. This is, but not only this is unacceptable for the whole thing. It starts with point 1. Ukraine's sovereignty will be confirmed.
What does that even mean?
First of all, we don't know what it means to confirm sovereignty of a country which has been sovereign for the last 33 years. And who is Russia to confirm sovereignty of Ukraine? This is ridiculous. You know, two big mights, however, Russia is no longer such a big might, discussing the future of the world, future of Europe, future of Poland also, because Poland is mentioned in this.
Well, it also said that.
And they, you know, this is so outrageous and so disappointing when we think about American leadership, and they allow Putin to condemn. We will, I think, get to all these details in a second.
Michał, just for a moment, let's read what Prime Minister Donald Tusk said about this. If we can just see that on the screen for a moment. Now, he said that all the decisions concerning Poland will be taken by Poles, nothing about us without us. I mean, again, how can Trump possibly think and try to surprise Europe, right, neighbors, with neighboring Ukraine, and take a decision in the first place, again, without European or particularly Ukrainian consent?
We are constantly talking about it. It is just decision of the return of dance of powerful states away from multilateral political solutions, which was the tenor of post-war world. Suddenly we are returning to Cold War. Point 2. All ambiguities of the last 30 years will be considered settled. What does it mean, all ambiguities? The main ambiguity of the last 30 years is the Russian aggression.
And even before that?
Even before that, in 1995, there was this memorandum in Budapest in which Russia, United States and United Kingdom guaranteed sovereignty and peace to Ukraine in exchange for it relinquishing nuclear weapons.
So does this look like Budapest 2.0?
No, this is Munich 2.0.
Ukraine will receive reliable security guarantees. Michał, what does that even mean?
I don't know. What is reliable guarantees for Ukraine? Who and how and when guarantees? It's no specifics to it. And as we said, these guarantees were already provided to Ukraine in this Budapest memorandum. And what happened? Russia invaded Ukraine. But I would like to return to point 3 here. NATO will not expand further. I mean, NATO is not the ownership of the United States. It's the organization of 30 countries which can decide what to do and what not to do.
To protect itself if Russia...
Yeah, and next point. The dialogue will be held between Russia and NATO, mediated by the United States, as if the United States were not a part of NATO. You know, it was prepared by somebody who knows nothing about the realities of today's politics. You know, they want, in point 6, to slash Ukrainian army
military
to 600,000 personnel, which is almost cutting it by half. You know, the aggressor who didn't win the war is now demanding from the defending country that it halves its army. How can the mediator, America, being a mediator, agree for things like that? And also for Ukraine to pledge that it will not be admitted to NATO in the future, and to enshrine this in their constitution.
And that NATO won't station its troops in Ukraine.
Yes, and you know, and then there comes a point about Poland, point 9. European fighter jets will be stationed in Poland. Who is Putin or Trump to decide what jets will be stationed in Poland? And who are they to tell Europe to station jets in Poland? We are talking here about sovereignty of Ukraine, but in point 9, Mr. Trump, together with Mr. Putin, are putting under question mark the sovereignty of Europe and Poland in particular. And then it follows on to U.S. guarantees. Major point number 10, in which starts, the U.S. will receive compensation for the guarantee. So it's like, you know, it's
deal or no deal.
It's like an agreement between two developers, or between a developer and city council about how to guarantee for this developer access to communal water supply, for example. You know, this is. I'm sorry, I'm constantly being so outraged, and you know, I can't believe what I see.
Well, it's something that has definitely shocked many, and also Michał. But what about? Yeah. I mean, we want to get through a lot of these things, right? So I'm going to have to jump a little more into the plan here. Russia will be reintegrated into the global economy. So after everything that Russia has done, so the U.S. says that, no more sanctions, everything is okay, Russia is forgiven for everything that it's done? Well,
your question answers all the, but you know, there are also little particular issues which are also very outrageous, utterly outrageous. Like, for example, if Ukraine launches a missile at Moscow or St. Petersburg without cause, the security guarantee will be deemed invalid. Now, how about Russia sending a missile against...
On Territorial.
Or for Kyiv. Example, on Kyiv, on Odessa.
There's no mention of that, right?
Only Ukraine has to pledge here that it will comply, but Russia is not forced to anything. And they also say here in point 11, Ukraine is eligible for EU membership. Come on. It's not the decision of Mr. Trump
But it's
Not
calling
this-
calling the shots. I mean, you know, it looks like Trump and Putin are trying to call the shots, right?
Yeah,
Of those developments.
And then we come to the main con point.
The frozen funds.
Yes, it's amazing how Mr. Trump, you know, on the one side, Mr. Trump is telling Europe to use 140 billion assets frozen on the account of an institution in Belgium. Well, this is money which really Ukraine needs to survive the next 2 years. And here he contradicts himself totally, because he is he wants to use this money to invest in US-led efforts to rebuild and invest in Ukraine. The US will receive 50% of the profits.
It's a deal. Again,
It's amazing. They
right?
want to push Europe to take decision, a very hard decision on using the arrested assets for their own benefit. I don't know how it can be tolerated by any European partner of the US, and also naivety of American side. Russia will enshrine in law its policy of non-aggression towards Europe and Ukraine. Well, it would be difficult to count all the commitments that Russia has violated over the last 30 years.
And I don't think that in schools, in Ukrainian schools, teachers will be able to actually promote understanding and cross-cultural
this is another thing
tolerance,
which
right?
is a real red light for Ukraine, because for Ukraine it was very important over the last decade, after the Maidan revolution, revolution of dignity, to get rid of Russian influence on their culture, education, and everything. First of all, there is a law which decides that the state language is Ukrainian, and they want to make two state languages, which means Ukrainian and Russian. On what basis? It's unclear.
An old Soviet tactic.
Yeah, and also they want Ukraine adopts EU rules on religious tolerance and protection of linguistic minorities. This is what we are talking about here. And then religious tolerance means that Ukraine would have to return to allowing to operate the Russian Orthodox Church. Russian Orthodox Church is just a department of Foreign Ministry of Russia, cooperating closely with the Kremlin, and they want Ukraine to agree for them to return to worship in Ukraine. It's amazing attack on national sovereignty of it's not only territorial. But
Michał, I need to ask you, I mean, we need to move on as well, but let me ask you this. So what do you think Europe is going to do now? What can Ukraine realistically do?
Well, we are shouting here, but probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks, there will be no word about this peace plan anymore, because it will totally collapse. It's not that out of these 28 points, some 3 or 4 will be discussed and the rest will be accepted. I mean, there's not a single point, in my view, that Ukraine can agree for. And then
President Zelenskyy said, right?
And President Zelenskyy, at the beginning, he said, well, we will consider it carefully. And then he probably read it the second time, and he said, either the loss of dignity or the risk of losing a key partner. So he's telling Americans that we are not going to accept this thing because it will mean that we lose our dignity. And they will not agree to lose their dignity. It's not only the question of him losing power. He is Ukrainian in the end, and he cannot accept something which is just spitting in his face by a neighbor who is there, is an aggressor and then murdering civilians.
Well, speaking of aggressor, Michał, Unfortunately, Russia's games don't only, deliberate games don't only happen on Ukrainian soil, they also happen here on Polish soil. Michał, a terror attack with the aim to kill on Polish soil. A deliberate act of sabotage of Poland's rail infrastructure. So prosecutors have prepared formal charges against 2 Ukrainian suspects who are believed to be in Belarus. They blew up a piece of rail in eastern Poland last weekend. They have fled the country. Now, of course, Poland is accusing them of terrorist-style sabotage. Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz says Polish army is drawing up plans to deploy 10,000 troops, right, to guard critical infrastructure. Michał, what else do we know as of now? Where do we stand? Now?
You know, it was all discovered last Sunday. The so-called Russian-American peace plan was published, in fact, on Thursday evening. You know, if this terrorist attack on Poland were successful,
It would have been a deadly one.
there was a curve on the railway. And
We can see it right there. It's popped up on the screen right there, yeah?
yeah, so one is this curve. The second thing is high elevated rails go, not only curving there, but also highly above the rest of the ground. And, you know, it's several, more than 10 meters high, this elevation. And it means that if a train running 160 kilometers per hour, as they do in this place, would really get derailed, we would see dozens, if not more, fatalities. And Poland would have been in mourning today, and it would be a very important aspect of this proposal, which we were discussing, because it would show how important it is to get peace. And probably it was aimed at pushing Europe, Poland and Ukraine to end the war as soon as possible before it really develops into something.
And also Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski said he is going to close the last Russian consulate, correct, operating in Gdansk. Michał, unfortunately, this is all the time that we have for today. I know these are 2 extremely big topics and extremely important topics. We can be going on about this, and we will be here on TVP World throughout the weekend as they unfold. Michał, thank you so much for for analyzing each and every part of this quote-unquote peace plan. And we're happy that nothing worse happened than how it did at that on that railway track. And thank you here for watching Face to Face. I'll see you here next week, and stay on with us at TVP World for more news and analysis.